my guys, I hope you are all enjoying the lovely spring weather wherever you are. But today I'm going to be talking about the 7 books that I hope to read in May, maybe even in the garden if the sun continues shining. This month, I don't really have a ton going on, so I'm hoping that I can read quite a few books. I don't even have anything crazy going on in terms of reading plans. I don't think I'm participating in any readathons. I do have a couple of video plans, so fingers crossed everything goes well with that. And I will, of course, have my monthly episode of Shelve It or Scrap It, where if you missed the last episode, I'm going to be going back to basics and just using a random number generator to select those books, which I'm really excited about because I love the spontaneity, but that, of course, means that I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to be reading for that. So aside from those things, I have 7 other books that I would like to squeeze into the month of May, which feels ambitious because recently I've only been reading 7 books a month. But in April, I did actually manage to read a little bit more for the first time in a long time, and I feel like I'm carrying that optimism into May. So the books we're going to talk about today are for book clubs, live shows, and arcs, all that kind of thing. And we're just going to get straight into it with the first and probably most important book on this TBR, which is The Hunger of the Gods by John Gwynne for Catch Up Book Club. So the live show for this is going to be on the 17th of May. I'm not entirely sure whose channel it's going to be on yet, so do keep an eye on my Instagram stories, my YouTube community page, and also the read along Discord to get more updated information on that when we've figured it out. But I am pretty sure that we've now confirmed for the 17th of May, so that will be your deadline to finish this one. This one is, of course, the second book in the Bloodsworn saga, which is a Norse-inspired epic fantasy series from John Gwynne. It's actually really hard to give you any kind of synopsis for this one because the first book is such a slow build where we're following 3 different perspectives and we have no idea kind of where they're going or how they're connected until you get to the very end of book 1. But this one is set in a much more magical world than John Gwynne's Banishland series. It is set after a war with the gods, and it is a world where the bones of these gods remain valuable. There's even a whole city built into the skull of one of the gods in here, which is pretty cool. But the gods have been gone for a long time now, and we still have these like lesser gods in the world, and also things like the spirits and the guardians of the forest. But for a lot of people in this world, the magical woes of the world are a thing of the past, and they're more concerned on the problems of men. So one of the plot lines that we have bubbling up in here is that there are people trying to claim power and land, and the jarls of this world are rising up, some of them declaring themselves kings and queens, and they are kind of pillaging through the land to claim more territory. And where some of our main characters are from, especially our main character of Orca, that is a real threat to the towns and villages like close to where she lives. However, we do still have a magical threat to this world. With the bones of the gods still holding so much value, it seems that the gods themselves may not be as long dead as people initially thought. I'm very excited to get into this one because the first book was quite slow for me and it took me a long time to get into it, but that point where we left it on right at the end has made me so excited to continue, and hopefully when I have more of a picture of what the aim of this series is, I'll be able to give you guys a way better synopsis than the one that I just struggled through. I will also be doing another book club type live show in May with Hannah from Ladette M, who is currently hosting a read along of all of Ali Hazelwood's books. Now, as you guys know, Ali Hazelwood is my favorite contemporary romance author and also an auto-buy author for me. So Hannah asked me if I would be willing to participate and guest host one of the live shows, and the book that we have chosen is one of the only ones that I currently have not read, which is Not in Love. All of Ali Hazelwood's contemporary romances feature women in STEM, and this one is following a biotech engineer who is doing very well for herself in her career at a startup company. The love interest in this one is a man who, along with his business partners, wants to buy the startup that the main character works for, which she thinks is going to ruin the entire operation. So it looks like we're set up for another fun, feisty, hate to love, hopefully he falls first romance from Ali Hazelwood, which I just eat them up. I love them, and I'm really excited to read this one because this is what is stopping me from also reading problematic summer romance. And then I think I'll actually be caught up on all of Ali Hazelwood's contemporaries that aren't novellas. So next up we'll do my Patreon pick. If you guys have never seen this before, every member of my Inner Circle tier on Patreon can recommend a book that goes in here, and every month I pull one out that I have to read in the couple of months that follow. I think this month I either want something kind of grittier in the sci-fi and fantasy genre, or maybe something that's like a lot easier, like something like a romance or a contemporary. But let's see what we can pull. Let's go for this one. This one's green. I think that green was added last year or the year before. Lessons in Chemistry by Bodhigama. So I'm pretty sure that this one was added in 2024. So it is about time that it came up. This is not one that I currently own, which is how I know it's from a couple of years ago, because all of the recommendations now come from my own TBR. But this one has a very short synopsis on Goodreads, so I'll just read it to you. I have seen this one around, but I don't actually know anything about it. It does say that it won the Goodreads Choice Awards for whatever category it was in 2022 though. So the synopsis says, chemist Elizabeth Zott is not your average woman. In fact, Elizabeth Zott would be the first to point out that there is no such thing. But it's the early 1960s and her all-male team at Hastings Research Institute take a very unscientific view of equality. Forced to resign, she reluctantly signs on as the host of a cooking show, Supper at 6. But her revolutionary approach to cooking, fueled by scientific and rational commentary, grabs the attention of a nation. And soon a legion of overlooked housewives find themselves daring to change the status quo, one molecule at a time. I can tell you that I would not have picked this up had it not been recommended, but I'm not opposed to it. It is definitely very outside of my typical read, but sometimes I like a book like that to mix things up a little bit, and I'm pretty sure because of how popular this is, I can either definitely get a physical copy from my library, they're 100% gonna have this, or I might be able to get an ebook copy on Libby. So thank you so much to Tandia for the recommendation. May is a very exciting month for Penguin Michael Joseph, because the next and the last 4 books of this video actually that I'm going to be talking about are all arcs released in May from Penguin Michael Joseph. So thank you so much to PMJ for sending these my way and adding them to my TBR, because I am so excited for all of these. The first one I'm going to talk about I actually haven't unboxed yet, but I'm pretty sure that in my next unboxing video I'm going to be showing you guys an arc of Stormbreaker by Nisha J. Tooley. Now I have heard really good things about this author's other series, which I think starts with the Trials of the Sun Queen, and I've actually already heard really good things about Stormbreaker from the people who've already read the arc. So this one has a bunch of buzzy elements. The most important ones, or the ones that stand out the most to me anyway, are that it is set in some sort of like magic school or training academy, and there is also a series of trials. So our main character is somebody who has been destined to always attend this academy, and it's set somewhere called New Manhattan, so I don't know if it's more of an urban fantasy than a high fantasy, but she is the member of one of the ruling houses of this world. She's betrothed to a powerful heir, and she is going to attend this academy where she has to survive this series of brutal trials to unlock this future that has always been set out for her. However, I think that she accidentally stumbles across some magic, which could mean her execution, and to make matters worse, there is also a handsome and mysterious outsider that catches her eye and threatens her promised future. So Stormbreaker, I'm pretty sure, is released on the 7th of May, but also on the 7th of May we have Verity Guild by Mike Corland. So this is one of my most anticipated releases of the year, because I really enjoyed the Five Broken Blades series by Mike Corland, which is a multi-perspective heist fantasy, and this one is a romantasy, which caught my attention immediately. But to top it off, I do believe that this is going to have a Roman Empire influence, which you guys know I love, and it is following a high priestess who is the last surviving heir of a magical bloodline, and she has to investigate the brutal death of a senator who was killed with a temple blade. The only thing that I know about the love interest in here is that he is a Praetorian, and he has vowed to ruin our main character, but because they're locked on a mountain with this murderer, they have to work together to solve the mystery. Also on the 7th of May, because Penguin Michael Joseph apparently ain't playing, is Our Perfect Storm by Carly Fortune. I've heard such good things about Carly Fortune, and I'm predicting that Carly Fortune's books are a really good mix of like emotional contemporary and romance. This one is following the age-old trope of best friends who fall in love on a holiday. In this one in particular, our female main character is about to get married. I think she's dumped on like the eve of her wedding by her fiance, and she's absolutely distraught, but her male best friend encourages her to go on their honeymoon anyway, and he goes in place of her would-be husband, and I'm pretty sure they fall in love along the way. And then the final book I'm going to be adding to my May TBR is released right at the end of the month on the 28th, and that is The Mistral by Felix Moss. Now I'm really excited about this one because it is the first book in a new adult epic fantasy series for fans of John Gwynne and Brandon Sanderson. I am trying to temper my expectations here, but when you say Brandon Sanderson, your girl gets excited. So all I know about this one is that the Mistral is a magical wind that bestows magical powers on people who are destined to shape the future. I'm pretty sure we have two central characters in here, one of which is the daughter of an assassinated queen and one who is a feared fighter. These two are thrown together. That is the extent of my knowledge, but with epic fantasy I prefer to go in just knowing the bare bones anyway, because I feel like I learn a lot more about the story through like the world building than I do from just reading the synopsis. So here are the books that I'm hoping to read in the month of May. Of course, we need to add Stormbreaker to the stack as well as Lessons in Chemistry. I'm really happy that we have 3 contemporary stories to balance this out a little bit, because we also have 2 chunky-ish epic fantasies here, as well as 2 more romancy leaning fantasy stories. So I think I'm definitely going to need the contemporary to break it up a bit and keep up the pace, which is what I hope to do. I do have a stack of books that will still be rolling over for previous months that I'm hoping to intersperse throughout these. I'm hoping to work on at least 1 targeted video in May, as well as Shelve It or Scrap It. So we have a lot going on, but aside from a little renovation project that I'm quite happy working on while listening to an audiobook, I actually don't really have a lot going on. I'm just going to go on my hot girl spring walks, do my little renovation project, read my books, and mind my own damn business. So actually let me know if you would recommend the audiobook for any of these, which I realize you guys probably can't do because the majority of these are arcs. Would you recommend the audiobook for Lessons in Chemistry? Because I do have some audiobooks in general I'd like to listen to, but obviously if I could multitask with things off my TBR, that would be really helpful. So down in my comments, let me know if there are any of these books that you're especially excited to hear my thoughts on. Also, of course, let me know which book you are most excited to get to in May. Are there any upcoming releases that you're really excited to read, or just something that you have lined up for next month that you're excited to sink your teeth into? And if you guys would like to let me know that you were here but you don't feel like you have anything to say, then please leave me some kind of like windy or stormy emoji for both Our Perfect Storm and The Mistral. But aside from that, guys, please don't forget to like this video if you liked it and subscribe if you wanna. If you head into my description box, you'll find a link to my Goodreads, my Instagram, or my Patreon if you'd like to follow me on any of those. But that's it from me today, guys. Bye!
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you're go where nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.